Hello, Facebook fam, all the members in our Be Your Own Guru community, as well as those who might be watching the replay on YouTube or wherever else you are, whatever time, space, and dimension you are in right now. My name is Ty Gold. I am the co-founder of New Earth Magic School and the, I have the honor of being the host of the Be Your Own Guru Facebook community that has been such a treasure, pleasure, and joyful experience for me to maintain that space for about the last 5 years of very compassionate, wise seekers and bringers. It's just such a beautiful free sharing community. I can't say enough wonderful things about it. If you're new to either or any of these spaces, welcome, welcome, welcome. The Divine has asked me a couple of months ago to start this once a month live stream series called Soul Gold, which is short for Soul Chats with Ty Gold. That's me. And I channel these questions and interview our guests. I was just telling our beautiful guest today that I literally channel these questions in the hour and a half, 2 hours before we would sit down so that I don't give too much away. I am terrible at keeping secrets and surprises. And if I knew these questions any time before an hour and a half ago, I would have shared too much on social media. So the Divine likes to keep them private, these questions, even from me. And so when I have these conversations with my beautiful guests, we get to unwrap and unbox this together because there is a divine experience being orchestrated. And so thank you for, the adventurous side of you, Sophia, Gogo Sophia, for allowing me to join me in this experience and allowing me to ask these questions. If you are just getting to know her or myself this next hour, and we're going to give or take 5 or 10 on there because these questions are really great. If you have the time and space, lovely. If you need to go, let me know. But I do have these really beautiful questions that the Divines had me channel so that your people can get to know your awesomeness better and really feel like they have an understanding about who you are, and where you are in the world. So I'm going to stop talking at you and about you, and please introduce yourself in the way that you would like to be known to our communities.
Yeah, thank you, Ty. It's just such an honor to be here tonight, and the fun element around channeling these questions.
Yeah, right.
It's really exciting. And my name is Gogo Sophia, and Sophia was, I have 2 names. I have many names, but predominantly 2 names. And Sophia is the name that is my spiritual name. It's a name that was given to me when I was being called. So this is a calling, spiritual calling. And of course, I work with the Divine Mother, who is also Sophia. And the work that I do, it's part of Earth wisdom. Okay, it's the wisdom of the Divine Mother. It's the wisdom of the earth. And it's the wisdom of becoming intimacy with the mother, with the feminine, understanding your feminine identity, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. And through eons of time on this planet, our feminine identity has been distorted for many, many, many reasons. And we are just through this work. Sophia, Gogo Sophia is present to really support everyone, to strip down that which is false, false gnosis, so that we can really understand the truth of who we really are, our own true gnosis, and to become intimate with the mother, to come into union with the mother, with the body, with the senses, with the earth itself, to devote ourselves to the earth, to nature, to be the custodians of the earth, to be the custodians of every blade of grass that is on this planet. and yeah, it's been an interesting journey. My other birth name is Sulufelo Monari, and Sulufelo. Yeah, I started out as a filmmaker.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked in television. I worked in the film industry. I've always been a creative. I've always been a storyteller. And it was actually my filmmaking that guided me to my spiritual calling. I had to make a film about my own roots. I was so disconnected from my roots, as you know, as everybody knows, especially if you come from the indigenous communities. There's something about your indigenous roots and your indigenous wisdom, the wisdom of the earth, that gets sidelined, that gets overlooked. And growing up, I had such a low self-esteem because I was taught at school, at church, to hate myself. To hate myself, to choose everything else other than who I am. And it was quite interesting because I went to film school, and then after film school, I worked with an incredible producer. I will never forget him. And he saw me, and I had to pitch, a documentary film. And, I'm pitching on global warming, and I'm pitching on, all sorts of things like cleaning up the river. And I'm pitching about, just these really, far away ideas. And he looked at me and he said, I think that before you try and tell stories about other people, you should first try and tell a story about who you are. What is in your backyard? And
how did you feel about that?
I was triggered.
I bet. I felt it.
And white male.
Mm.
Here in South Africa, there's a very interesting relationship and dynamic with the white male. And I just thought, oh my gosh, how could this man tell me this? Like, as if I'm incapable of telling this story. I was immensely triggered. But, I think that he was an immensely gifted soul. And he just took me by the hand and he said, I know what story you need to tell. Wow. You just got to trust me. You just got to trust me. And it was in that process that I was actually led to my grandmother's village. And it was just miraculous because I was doing research, and this woman said to me, do you know Mama Grace? Do you know Mama Africa? And I was like, oh, I have no idea who she is. And she is, a grandmother that is very well versed in the indigenous knowledge systems of the Bakata people. And just randomly, she just started speaking about her and all these magical, beautiful things. And guess what? This woman came from a village that my mother grew up in, from my grandmother's village. I had been there. I don't know, I was raised there. I went there during the holidays. And that's exactly what was happening. I had no idea. I was guided to my
Mm,
grandmother's village to meet this woman,
mm,
and the story started to unravel, and she really helped me to, yeah, to understand my African identity,
mm,
my African identity. She taught me how to love the things about myself that I was
mm,
taught to dislike.
mm,
It was such a beautiful journey because sometimes we get thrown in the dark. Sometimes that information, it's almost like it had to be taken out of the history books, because in it, isn't
mm,
it more, adventurous and mystical
mm.
to seek something that, is not found in a book.
And even the word that's coming to me is pure.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I embark on that journey, of firstly understanding the truth of who I really am. But that was only the beginning, Ty. That was
Yeah.
only the
Yeah.
beginning. And that's the thing, is that you go through this process of discovery, and then you learn how to tell the story. You learn how to tell the story.
Mm.
You learn how to tell the story.
So where do you feel like you are now with that journey?
Yeah, still seeking.
Seeking and telling the story? Is it kind of like a simultaneous, do you feel like you've embraced it, and does it feel like you've come home and it's come home within you?
Absolutely. 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 Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
that feels so powerful. And so if you now described, well, I kind of want to take you back to that woman's question where she asked, like, do you know Mama Grace? What would your answer be today?
Wow. 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 Yeah. I think the answer would be, I know Mama Africa.
You're making me cry. And how would you describe her to somebody who might be seeking?
She is so lovely. She loves all of her children equally.
Mm,
She she doesn't discriminate. She doesn't turn anybody away. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter where you've been, who you've been, what you've done. Everything is redeemable. Everything. You can redeem yourself. That is who she is. She just has this unconditional love.
mm,
She loves all of her children, and she just gives. She gives. Um and when I was doing my meditation, I always just go deep into the core, into the womb, and the beauty and the depth. Oh, and that's who we are, hon. That's who
yeah,
we are. That is, we're
yeah.
we're walking towards that. We are
Mm,
the embodiment,
mm-hmm,
level of intimacy.
yeah. So did I see online recently that you're hosting experiences local to you for people to have a bit of this journey? Did I see that somewhere?
Yes, yes, the Black Madonna,
Mm,
Black Madonna in Dahlstrom. And so Dahlstrom is about an hour away from Adam's Calendar, which is one of
okay.
the most powerful sacred sites. And Adam's calendar is Little Egypt.
Mm,
But
I
we
love that.
we would, call Little Egypt, and it was in the year 2019. No, the year 2020. My apologies. It was COVID and there was lockdown, and then we had the opportunity. It was an opening, and we had the opportunity to kind of come out of the borders that we were stuck in. And I drove down into Adam's calendar. It was my first time ever, and there was nobody there. And I had found a guide. I didn't even know where Adam's calendar was. I just saw the
Oh,
book
wow.
on a table, and
Oh
I
my
was curious
goodness.
to ask, the lady that was running the bed and breakfast, and I said, I've never been to this place. I've heard people talk about it. I saw the book. Do you have any idea how I could get there? And she said, sure, sure. I'm gonna, I'm gonna call the tour guide. And he took me up on this, little bucky that could barely, barely make it through the terrain. It was so
Oh
rough,
my goodness.
but we got there. And he gave me a few moments to sit by these stones, which is the world, one of the world's most ancient calendars, actually.
Okay.
And I sat there connected with the rocks. And,
Mm,
you know, that's where I met her.
mm,
That's where I met her. That's where, she said, this is your calling. The Divine Mother is returning to this planet.
mm,
And this is your calling. This is your sacred work. And so that area, Dahlstrom, and Waterfallboven, and many of the areas around that, they hold the most um, ancient,
mm,
these circles, this architecture, that is really, really ancient. And there's really some incredible power spots
mm,
in those areas. So when you step into those areas, really, it's like you're stepping into this powerful vortex.
mm,
Really grounds you, and it links you to the Divine Mother. And what the Black Madonna is really about is immersing yourself in the black light
mm,
of the Mother, of Mama Africa.
mm,
And there is something that we need to break around that, okay? Around Africa, around the black skin, around the
mm,
separation,
mm,
by immersing ourselves into the original womb of the Mother, where we are all one, oneness.
mm,
Before, before anything else, where there is that common place. So she
mm.
brings us into that common place, that dark womb.
The words that the divine keeps handing to me and what you're describing is the original blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was an intention when a seed was planted, and I feel like what you're dialing in on is in speaking of is almost like a stem cell, almost like the origin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love this. So if somebody were to come to Africa and have this experience with you, this offer that you've been sharing, what does that look like? What is it coming up? Do people still have time to
Yes, yes.
jump in on this? Do you mind telling us more about it?
It's happening in July, and it's
Yeah.
it's 4 nights. And there is a pre-course before the retreat. So the retreat itself is the practical, it's the immersion, but the pre So one of the things that we work with is we work with our none other than human relation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we work with the earth, we work with the elementals, we work with, the frequencies of the feminine, and you learn how to tap into the subtle frequencies of the
Mm.
mother. And I know you've been there
Yeah.
many, many times. So it we are working on the fears that are in your base chakra. So if you're somebody that is disconnected from the earth,
Mm.
has experienced trauma, whether it's through the Holocaust, whether you've been enslaved, and it could
Mm.
even be that your ancestors were the enslavers.
Mm.
So because of that, because you are ashamed of what your ancestors have done, that also creates that fear of
Mm.
anchoring in the shame, because then you don't feel worthy. A lot of, you know, people in this country don't feel at home
Mm-hmm.
because they are ashamed of what their forefathers had done. They don't feel worthy of being in the body. They
Mm.
don't feel worthy of grounding. So all of that information gets broken down.
Nice. And that's
So
in the
that,
pre-work.
yeah, and that's in the pre-work. And what happens in the retreat is, we work somatically through movement, through
Mm.
dance. We go to the sacred sites, we connect with the earth, we
Love it.
chant, we sing. So a lot of my work involves the movement, the dance, the singing, the chanting. It brings us into the feminine.
Mm. So
And we
who would be the most right, perfect souls for this kind of experience?
Wow, yeah. I People that feel misplaced or don't have a deep sense of home,
Mm.
people that don't have a good relationship with their bodies, women. We're working with
Mm.
women. So I forgot to say that it is a woman's circle. And
Okay.
women, because just the safety, if you've been sexually abused, if
Mm.
you've had an abortion, if you want to connect with your goddess power, and the divine mother really supports you to hold more, to pull in more. So a lot of the time we do a lot of this um very multidimensional
Mm-hmm.
frequency work.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're really needing to pull in more, to
Mm-hmm.
ground, to open up the body, because it's also about your medicine and the mastery of your medicine. And the
Mm.
mastery of your medicine is around, how do I open up so that I can ground more of myself?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, for me, the biggest thing for me would be, if you are the kind of person that, has really struggles with self-worth because
Mm.
of what you've done in the past, because of your past experiences,
Mm.
self-loving, really struggling to find that self-love.
I love that. I feel like the divine's also whispering another kind of individual that might be the right fit for this experience. You let me know your thoughts on it. But it sounds to me like the kind of woman who maybe has injury or hurt around her own relationship with mother, or is missing. I'm getting really emotional just bringing it up. Missing that maternal figure, I feel like this retreat could allow Mama Africa, Mama Grace to replace that or fulfill that or
Absolutely.
fill that.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
Spot
good,
on.
good. Yeah, well, I feel like that's gonna call a lot more of the right people for this, for the fit. So tell me, this would be a group experience. What's the size that you envision or that you and the divine are co-creating of this experience?
Well, it is going to be an intimate circle, so I'm
Sure.
looking at eight
Yeah.
women. So it's going to
Okay.
be, yeah, quite intimate,
Beautiful.
just to allow everybody to be able to express themselves and to share. And yeah.
I love it. Do you mind telling us, I'm just going to kind of bend a little bit, when did the filmmaking end and the healing work begin time wise? Like when was the bridge or the break or the gap?
So it was in 2020.
Oh, okay.
2020.
Wow.
I think that a lot of people felt like they just had that rug pulled from underneath them,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
the whole paradigm was completely, it's like your earth shattered.
Hmm.
It's like now you got to learn how to ground into something else.
Yeah.
Because so
Yeah.
much of what you were used to, what you knew was completely and utterly. So it was very, very clear then that a lot of people needed a lot of support.
Yeah. The divine, I channeled more than once in that time frame that the divine was calling it the second awakening, um, for a lot of people. I feel like I was kind of part of the first round back in 2012, and the divine refers to that time period, like 2019 to 2021 or two, as kind of like the second vergence
Yeah.
of that. So um the divine wanted me to ask, so I'm curious if we've already touched this or if it's something you'd like to speak to. The divine wanted me to ask you to tell us about any convictions that you have about our healing industry, this field that we are in together, anything that you feel strongly or passionate about. And this doesn't have to necessarily be a criticism. I feel like we are the bringers of change, and so sometimes I feel like we spot or recognize something that we might do differently because we are growing in our wisdom. So do you have anything that you feel like really strongly or passionate about regarding the healing industry, or practitioners, since you've been on your healer's journey?
Well, um,
Mm.
wow. Um, I think for me that the thing that just kind of um, throws me off a little bit is I think that that I always found challenging, right?
Sure, sure.
Becoming intimate with the social media, with the
Mm,
Instagram, with the with the tech, with the information bombardment.
mhm.
And I almost feel like there needs to be an alchemy around that. And I almost have to ask that question every single day. It's like, how do I alchemize this? How do I know I need to show up. I know I need to be in the foreground. And I know that a lot of us have to be visible in the social media space, so
Mhm.
the energy is balanced, so that so that we're overriding some of those frequencies that are maybe not as kosher.
Yeah.
So I think for me is trying to understand my own way,
Mm-hmm.
my own signature around
Yeah.
navigating the social media
Mm.
space. And
Mm-hmm.
it is difficult, because you're getting in there, you're kind of doing what everybody else is doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you're learning and um yeah, but at some point there needs to be this alchemy between you and the technology,
Mm-hmm.
how to deliver, um and to show up in a way that, yeah, it's not destructive and it's not irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
um, and so where this space becomes a sacred temple, it becomes an extension of the temple of
Mm-hmm.
God, divine,
Mm-hmm.
where we are reclaiming. I almost feel like the Holy Spirit right
Yeah.
now, the Divine Mother, remember wanting to claim all of her children
Mm.
and weave the technology back,
Mm-hmm.
because there's nothing wrong with technology, right?
Right.
It's
It's
the
it's a
manner in
neutral
which
substance. Yeah.
we use it and we utilize it.
Mm.
So I think that more and more light workers need to just be more conscious of
Mm.
this sacred divine temple, you know, that is within me. How
Mm-hmm.
do I weave that back to the divine, weave that back to the divine mother?
Mm-hmm. I love that you're bringing this up, Gogo Sophia. It's a topic that I feel is really important and I care about, and I know exactly what you're speaking to. The divine and I address this
Mm.
in Spirit Messenger Mastery, and I was given very advanced tech and access to um, ways to call in our divine communities and to do it in a way that is an extension of our soul's expression. It's an extension of our soul's artistry. And you do show up when you are called to, and only when you're being of divine service. And so this is a protocol that I follow, and I ask the divine, basically, what does my soul family, my community need from me today? And there's days where the answer is they don't need anything from you today.
Wow.
But I know that I'm showing up by simply asking the question. And then if it's in my soul's homework to do self-care, to do some deep healing, that's still me showing up for my soul fam, because I'm maintaining my soul's signature artistry by being authentic, being true to myself. I'm not selling when selling doesn't feel good. I don't do it for sales. I do it to be of service. And so all of that good is inside Spirit Messenger Mastery. And the reason why it's in Mastery is because you have to be an excellent divine communicator, number one, which is what we learn in Spirit Messenger training. But the advanced technology has to be in the right hands, and people have to be pursuing it for the right reasons. And so there is a price tag on that material that reflects the um, level of integrity that would be required to utilize those methods, if that makes sense. I'm hoping you're kind of reading between the lines of what I'm saying there. But I think that we can literally regrid our section of the internet with our divine and mastery codes and have a touch point that's authentic with those souls who we're meant to work with. So I totally get what you're saying, and I kind of wish we all operated from that space, but the 3D ways of doing things has been around a lot longer. And so I just say it's going to take time, in my opinion. It's going to take time. And unfortunately, people are going to have to hit burnout, overwhelm. This isn't working. This doesn't feel good before they start to operate from a sense of what else is possible and speak the way you are. How can this be an extension of my love and care?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
Okay. We're so emotional today. I don't know if you're feeling it, but I'm feeling it. I've got to take
Yeah.
breaks in
Yeah.
between these conversations because I'm tearing up. Okay. The divine would like for me to ask you if you could go back and change things in your journey from when you started your healer's journey from there to now. Tell us one thing that you would do differently.
Oh, wow. Yeah, is putting myself first.
Sing it, sister. Yeah.
God. Oh, those boundaries,
Yeah.
self-care, that just, wow. But, we go through it because it's part of our learning, right? Make those mistakes. We make those mistakes because it's part of our learning. And we've got to know how much we're giving. We got to know how much we're giving, and we got to make sure that we are giving ourselves even more. We are pouring into ourselves even more. And I had to work through so many woundings, and that's self-worth, right? When you think you're not good enough, the rescuer archetype. And I'm still learning that, Ty. That is, it's not an overnight. Sure, even for you, you're still learning how to draw your boundaries. You're still learning how to, yeah. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing
Yeah.
that I would totally change.
I get that. There was a huge healing, and I know this isn't about me, but I just want to speak to what you're talking about. There was a huge healing that had to happen for me regarding this. It was literally a conversation and a healing that I had with Gaia. That's what I call Mother Earth as she's evolving, and she helped me recognize that I was measuring my love with the amount of sacrifice I had done for my children, my family members, my clients, my partners, the amount I was willing to go without, give up, sacrifice. That was supposed to be me contributing my love. And she was like, oh, honey, sister, mama, friend, we've got reprogram. And so that was a lifetime of training. I think that was misinformation passed down through my family. So reprogramming that, and then catching myself, rewriting the code, rewriting the script. It felt to me at the time almost like learning how to ride a bicycle backwards. Like, it was very awkward, very strange, contrary to what the mind says, what we're so I get it. I mean, it's probably different in your experience, but I can totally relate. Yeah.
It's incredible, that moment when you do realize how much self-sacrifice. I think I went. Yeah, I did. It was when that penny dropped. I literally started wailing, because it is just that thing of wanting. How can I choose less for myself? How could I have done it for so long? Because it's even beyond the the healer journey. It predates that. So she said it's in the healer journey, and it's like, wow, how could I have chosen that over,
Mhm.
over and over again.
And when we're in that space, we call in the type of people who reflect that behavior. We
Mm,
allow things that are not conducive to our wealth, health, happiness. We surround ourselves with the mirrors that reflect, yeah, you should put yourself last, or, you know, you're the afterthought. That was my experience anyway. And I've seen that come up quite a bit. So I'm really glad that you spoke to that. You're right. The healer's journey amplifies any areas that you're not putting yourself first, not serving from a full cup.
mm,
Yeah. So changing directions. I have a philosophy, something I'm passionate about. I have a philosophy that many practitioners in our field tend to get too many trainings and too many certifications and too many modalities under their belt. Um, and a lot of times I think it stems from, wanting to be an expert, maybe not enoughness, maybe having fears of stepping out and actually doing the thing. Um, I have a belief, my philosophy is that if they started with mastery of divine communication, that their journey could be a lot more like soul aligned, and they could actually save time, money, and wrong turns, expenses, and maybe modalities that don't actually, or even teachers that don't actually operate from a frequency or vantage point that really serves the bigger picture for them, because I end up being the one who tries to help them put all these beautiful things together and create an offer or a sacred experience that they're sharing. And sometimes there's too many things in the mix. So I was wondering if you feel that my philosophy, if you feel like that could be true from anything that you've experienced or witnessed. Do you feel like you've seen that in our community, industry, field? Does that resonate for you at all?
definitely, definitely, definitely. Um, but I also will say that, for myself, my own personal experience, I was very lucky in that I was divinely led.
Perfect.
Every
Good.
single teacher that I signed up with, it was like, it was just written in the stars. And until this day, I am dumbfounded at how I always made the right choices
Good.
at the right time. And it was in 2012 where, I was told, you need to go to this person and you need to go there. And I had no idea why, but the frequency and the vibration, and you are very multidimensional.
Hmm.
And what I can describe it to be was when I was being spoken to, that vibration that came through, that penetrated into my
Mm,
space, it was more real than this
hmm.
physical reality.
Hmm.
The pristine, if I can describe pristine, and and that was always my guide, right? Because it's like that was my reference.
Hmm.
Because if it's not in that frequency, if it's not in that vibration, well, there's
Yeah,
something wrong. There's
I
something
love
wrong.
that.
But of course, as you go along the way, and you step into a space that you're not really used to, and
Hmm.
you're getting to meet new people, and it's all good and fun, and then you do fall into that trap where, oh wow, look at these goodies, this is really cool, this is really, and you
Hmm.
know and I did
Yeah.
go through a phase until one day I got a very clear message. I actually had a dream, and this dream was so graphic that I was, with a group of people in this underground tunnel, and there were literally things being pulled out of my flesh and my body,
Mm.
and implants being placed into my body.
Mhm.
And whilst those things were, were the transmissions or the empowerments that I was receiving, I was shown how it is distorting.
Yeah,
It is distorting my
it's
body.
distorting. Mhm.
It's distorting. They're pulling something out and they're replacing it with an inferior technology. So just like you have, artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
that can easily replace art, and where a machine is creating art. That can happen in your own body, in your own energy system,
Mhm. Mhm.
at your own true divine essence.
I'm
Just
really
because
glad
you
you're speaking
you,
to
you
this.
sign up with the wrong person, or
Mhm.
and
Mm.
I was I mean, I saw that, and I think I had about, I don't know how many, I was about to start with these attunements and I was very excited, and I literally just trash,
Yeah.
put to the trash. That is not
Yeah.
because I was
Mhm.
shown the assault that it
Mhm.
has in your body, and eventually you cannot even channel your own medicine, the
Right.
truth of who you really are, because the body doesn't recognize, the soul body connection is no longer there. You've done so much damage to your energetics that you
Mhm.
can't even tap in.
Yeah.
So we have to be aware. we
Mhm.
we have to be aware just as much as we can consume poison food, but
Mhm.
energetic hygiene,
Yeah.
purity, like what you speak of.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the way you spoke to that. You know this about me. I was taught and trained by my divine support team. And I would still, I would join these clubs and these groups and hang out with these people, and they would have certifications and trainings. And next time I had class with my divine support team, I would say, what about this? I should I sign up for this? I at the time had like a big belief system around the certificate says I can. The certificate says I'm qualified. And so I would go back and basically tell my team what they were providing me, what they were training me with wasn't enough, wasn't good enough, because it wouldn't pass the smell test with my human family, right? My human family loves to see the plaques on the wall. And how am I supposed to walk out there with, I had class on Thursday with my imaginary friends and now I can do this thing? So I went through this really like, doubting Thomas phase, even though I'm so glad they stuck it out with me, because I was not an easy, I don't think I was an easy student at all. I mean, the one thing I did was I stayed faithful to coming to class. I did do that. I kept coming, but I had lots and lots of questions. And so there were certain modalities, and I asked if, well, is this modality better than mine? What you're training me to do? And should I sign up for that? Because I wanted to be the best that I could be for the people that I would be supporting. Like, it was coming from a good place, but also me feeling inferior because I didn't have the plaques. And they actually said that training in this certain modality would actually be less pure of my soul's ability to send energy, and that there was a distortion involved. So you're absolutely 100% correct. And I think that, with energy medicine, I think it is a good thing, but I also think that too much of it, there can be too much of it, whether in what you're trained in, or what you're receiving as a client. um the other thing I would say that I've seen, if you don't mind us workshopping this conversation just a little bit, but just the other thing that I've also seen is those people who have been trained and qualified and mastery level, and they stay with these mentors for years and years, and it almost becomes like an indoctrination. And the program that they've subscribed to, it says you cannot go out there and do anything else than this, and you cannot deviate. And this is where I've had many healers come to me for guidance or channeling sessions, and their soul is calling them to mix it up, to do like a Rubik's Cube. But because they've signed, because a mentor or trainer told them you cannot do anything other than the structure we have, you can only implement it the way that we've told you to do it. They're scared to do something wrong. And time and time again, the divine has said that was really just to open a door, just to reawaken. Or a lot of times they're asked to not continue with the mentor and to dial in on their own soul's own signature codes, frequency, medicine. So it's just that's why I think even with the training, too much is not always a good thing. And I'm really grateful to hear that you were also guided specifically, like a very specific route. And I think that validates the divine communication being such a key master or master key to unlocking like the best evolution for your powerful medicine. So yeah, interesting conversation.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the codes that you've been activated with in your time in Egypt, and since you've come back. The divine wants me to ask you about this.
Wow. Yeah, sure. It was just so interesting because I was in Egypt, and we were traveling around, and we were in Cairo for 2 days, and we had to travel up north to Aswan, and then we had to go, and then we had to go up to Luxor. But it was very interesting. In Aswan, that is the temple of Isis.
Got it.
Have the temple of Philae. And wow, for me, I had the most deeply profound experiences there. And that is where largely the Nubian community was. And we were supposed to get on a felucca for the day and sail through the Nile. But there was something with the wind. The wind was
Not
too
cooperative.
The wind was not cooperative. I had gone to the temple of Isis the day before, and you receive, but sometimes there needs to be something that just grounds.
Yeah.
It's like the integration. So that wind was not having it. It's like, you're not going anywhere, sister honey. You're staying right here. And
spiritual timeout.
Yeah. And then I was like, wow, now I actually have the opportunity to go to the Nubian Museum. And and I went to Elephantine Island, which is, the Nubian community. And, they were very happy to see me. And they said, wow, you are Nubian. They don't have a lot of, African tourists, that come onto the island. But, for me, how spiritual, how it is. It's like, it's literally
surprise,
like
but not a surprise.
Yeah. Talking code. And unraveling my own Nubian identity.
Yeah. Redefining it.
Yeah. And through the eyes of the people that kind of hold it in its purest form on that island. And Ty, if I can tell you, when we talk about the feminine frequency, the feminine vibration, the subtle vibration, it's literally like you are pulled into this subtlety of the feminine, the stillness. The stillness was nothing like I had ever experienced. And just the way in which nature was opening her, like I was saying to everyone, I could see the Divine Mother Isis
Mm.
in everything. She may have, ascended,
Sure. Sure.
but the way that she has held herself within the consciousness of the people of the island, of nature itself, of the water, of the air, it's just something that you have to experience.
Mm.
There's something that you have to just, um that feminine dimension. And when I went
Power.
to the
She
Nubian
has
Museum,
so much power too.
she is fierce.
Yeah.
She is fierce.
Sorry, I interrupted. When you went to the Nubian village, go ahead.
And when I went to the Nubian Museum, and I saw all of this pottery, and I saw all of this art, and I saw all of this beauty of the feminine, of the ways that
Mm-hmm.
the feminine used to express herself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go into if you go to the Temple of Philae, you have those hieroglyphics, but within the hieroglyphics, you have the graffiti from the Coptic church. And when I looked at that graffiti, it was a curse that had been placed. It was locks that had been placed on the feminine body, the expression of the feminine. That is why women sit behind, desks, and they, and the way we live in the corporate world, and everything is so rigid, and everything is a straight line in the city, and that was an incredible awakening for me. And those locks that we hold within our bodies, from that graffiti, from those projections, and the capacity to liberate ourselves and to understand our feminine identity at a deeper level, at the level of the body as a technology, as an expression. Yeah, and that's what she does. That's what the Divine Mother Isis does.
Yeah.
That's why she has those wings. There. I don't know if you can see her. There she is.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. I've had a few chapters in my life that have included her. Every time she shows up to mentor me, it's always with a storm. Anytime I've channeled her, the cloud is black, the sky is rumbling, there's always a storm. So I feel like if I had been in your shoes that day when the winds weren't cooperating for the boat, I would have been immediately suspicious that she was up to something, because that's kind of like her signature trademark with me. Yeah, when the weather's wild, I'm looking for her. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. Well, I love you sharing that with us. Do you think that you would go back? Would you like to go back to Egypt? Yeah.
I think that this journey for me was, there was a lot going on.
Your birthday? Yeah.
There was a lot going on. It felt definitely like a karmic release. I'm one human being that comes a lot with my past life memories. And I had been prepared for this journey, and what it is that I wow. I don't know if I can go into that. I think there's not enough time, but it was about reconciling the past I think
Mm,
we will return. The work
mm.
in Egypt, it's only the beginning.
I feel that.
Only
I
the
feel
beginning.
that.
We will return
Mm,
again and again and maybe not even, in this lifetime, the level of work
hmm. Yeah,
that we will go there again and again and
yeah,
again and again. And trust me, it's no child's play.
yeah.
Especially if you are a healer, especially if you are someone that's so connected, and it is not child's play.
No, yeah, I
It,
agree
it,
with
it's
you.
a journey that means business.
Hmm. Yeah. Isis is somebody I think who represents, like we said earlier, power, and she is a force. Um, I think when you're ready to move in your
Mhm.
life, your circumstances, she is that strength and willpower and shows you how to do it and get it done.
Yes.
Um, so I love that she is both our ancestor and our future, in that she is supporting our ascension. So
Mhm.
to be, in all, oh, she's like in all places at all times, the essence of her parallel lifetimes, past lifetimes, future lifetimes, she's, yeah, love her. I'm so glad that um, I feel like you're still probably unpacking that, but my mind and my heart tells me you may end up um, starting to schedule your own retreats there, hosting. So I think that would be a perfect service for you if you're asking for my opinion in any way, shape, or form. My vote
Oh,
is
that's wonderful, because that's all I ever wanted to do. All I
host
ever.
magical retreats at sacred locations. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Well, you're visioning. I don't know if you read the post that I put out a few days ago, but your ability to translate what you saw, what you sensed, what you felt, you're such a storyteller, and you're able to transport somebody there as a witness. And we haven't even been there to actually your experience. You were so enmeshed, immersed, all of your senses bring back data and information that you just end up leaking out and sharing, that it's like, for the right people, I think once they get a taste of that, it's like, what time are we leaving? Where are we going? Let's go. Where do I sign up? And that's a gift. That's a huge gift and a treasure and a power that you have. So I know that you've said it's been a challenge for you to translate your material of service to the world on social media, but I think you are accomplishing that. So keep doing what you feel called to do, and I think the evidence will also be in the type of clients who reach out to you, and the kind of income levels you see yourself reach, as long as you keep adjusting your prices that honor the expert that you are becoming in this field, and your wisdom and your gifts and your power. And then I think our last question, if you don't mind me asking one more, and we'll close out this beautiful ceremony and conversation between the two of us for now. What would you say to someone starting out on their healer's journey? What wisdom would you share with them?
Wow. You know, for me, yoga,
Yeah.
practice,
Mm,
practice.
love it. What is
Find
it
something
about yoga?
that centers you.
Mm,
Daily practice. Something that
mm,
brings you to your center. You have to find the capacity to be still.
mm, mm,
You have to find the capacity to move your body when you need to move your body. the one thing that has kept me in my center, in my core, when things are just spinning around,
Mm-hmm.
the immense clarity that you need to operate at discernment,
Mm-hmm.
integrity, the ego, the human ego.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot stress that enough. If you are a healer, a light worker on this planet, you need to work with the ego. It's not going to go away. It's not going to disappear. But your ego and your I am presence need to align.
Mm.
The shadow work has to happen, the self-awareness. You as the witness. There are so many times where I had to, it's literally like I had to be, when you just step outside of it, when you're just throwing a tantrum,
I'm good at those.
or when you're just plain ass wrong, you're with a client, you overreact, or you're at the mall, you overreact, or you're on the phone, you're over. You have to find that capacity, to see your own blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you cannot fully do that for yourself, then you better have a coach, or you've got to have somebody that's going to help you to keep that in check. So it's not about the amount of certificates or the amount of transmissions or empowerments, or it's about this. It's about the heart.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the heart, and it is about the ego coming into alignment of being in service to the higher self that I am present. And I don't see anything outside of that. If that is not intact and in alignment, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chaos, disasters, self-destructive, and the further you go in this journey, the greater, when you go into deeper levels of self-mastery, that's even more where you have to be in your center. I work with my ego 24/7. 24/7. It's just, that is my job.
Got it. That makes sense to me. I totally understand, and I really appreciate you sharing that. I think it's very punctual for the time we're in now. So yeah, thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience, where they can find you, how they can find you?
Yeah, so my website is sacredfemininemystic.com. www.sacredfemininemystic.com. So, that's where you can, I have a lot of podcasts, a lot of blogs. So you will really have a good time. And of course, you can contact me. I do have contact details. Everything is there. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for taking this time. It's been such a treasure to share this time with you today. And I also want to thank all the people who have tuned in, who have witnessed this conversation. We would love to hear your feedback. What were some of your biggest takeaways from what we both shared today? And let us know what you would like Gogo Sophia to share more of. Give her heart some thoughts to consider as she's shining her light and sharing her stories on different platforms, social media. Do you have a YouTube channel with some of your beautiful work too?
Yes, I do.
What is the name of your YouTube channel?
Oh gosh.
We'll put it in the description if it's not coming to you, or is it coming to you?
It should be Gogo Sophia. If I'm not,
Perfect.
it should be Gogo Sophia.
I understand. We're always upgrading, up leveling, evolving, and with that comes different names. I have a bit of a story of that myself on my platforms. I was tied the spirit messenger for a long time, and my guide stepped in and said it's no longer appropriate for you to be the spirit messenger. You are a spirit messenger, and we'd actually like you to refer yourself as an alchemist. And I was like, okay, this is a lot. That's a lot of changing, which takes time to do all that. So I totally get it. And thank you again for your time today. It's been an absolute honor. Yeah, I'm sending you so much love and gratitude, and yeah, wishes for blessings and prosperity in your future, aligned blessings and prosperity in your future. Yeah. Thank you.
So much for
Everyone
having me.
else. Yes.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for checking out this video today. Be sure to like the video, share, subscribe to my channel. And if you really had a wonderful experience on this video, I invite you to share your reflections in the comments section. I love reading those. And if you would like to explore some more of my juicy magic and medicine, please visit my website at newearthmagicschool.com and register for my email list. I've got some things that you're going to love exploring. And if you would like to join our wonderful safe space on Facebook, we have a beautiful community called Be Your Own Guru. Until next time, bye bye.